Welcome to Business Reporter's Future of Responsible Business campaign. I'm Simeon Tagle. Mining is a high-impact business. It impacts people and nature while extracting the raw materials upon which the global economy depends. A leading global producer of gold and silver, Fortuna Silver Mines, prides itself on what it calls responsible mining. What does responsible mining mean, and what can the industry learn from it? That's what we're going to be discussing. So there is this perception that mining has negative social and environmental impacts, that it's a dirty business. Why?
Any business can be a dirty business if it doesn't follow the rules. In modern responsible mining today, I believe, is distant to those outdated pictures that reside in or sit in the general public's imagery. We, as a society, have been measuring ourselves against higher and higher standards. And the industry, I believe, has not only been quick to adapt, but also lead in many of those fields.
The other aspect maybe to mention is the gap of communication to show how mining industry can be clean. Reducing this gap of communication will be very important in the coming years. And it's exactly what we are doing at site level. It's the same. Around the mine, the communities don't know what is inside the fence. So it's very important to open the doors of the mine and to have them understand what we are doing. So when they see and touch what we do, they definitively change their perception of the modern mining.
So responsible mining, what does it actually look like? How does Fortuna operate responsibly?
Responsible mining is taking a holistic view on the process. Transparency, care for people, care for environment, how we draw from the natural resources from the start, which is early days of exploration, through to development, through to production, onto mine closure and reclamation. And that is what responsible mining is about. It's achieving not just net zero, but a net positive with respect to our activity, being valued for our long-term presence.
Responsible mining starts at the beginning of the development of a mine, consulting the communities, but also ensuring with knowledge that we can take and make the right decision.
So let's talk about the environment. How do you reduce, minimize, mitigate the environmental impacts of your operations?
First, I think here it's important to put things into context and remove some myths. The surface area that the industry disturbs or the water it draws is drastically a lower amount than what the general public might think. I can tell you that at Fortuna, we have reduced our water intensity, use or draw from fresh water sources from 1 cubic meter per ton of ore processed to 0.25 over the last few years. That's through increasing recycling of water and being more efficient. So we measured ourselves against that, and we transparently report on that. At our San Jose mine in the state of Oaxaca in southern Mexico. When we first arrived over a decade ago, we identified concerns from our neighbors and our host communities, concerns on a competition for water, for example, concerns on the surface footprint of a mine, of an open pit mine, concerns on the use of reagents that we use in the metallurgical process like cyanide. We put ourselves to work and mitigated those impacts. A mine that should have started as an open pit under a technical assessment was modified to be an underground mine from day one, therefore reducing the footprint and the surface disturbance. The use of water. We have multiple fields used for agriculture in our surrounding, and we coexist with them. So the concern was competition for water. So we could not draw water from the aquifer. We could not draw water from a nearby river. So our team developed an innovative solution. A town 13 kilometers away, we rebuilt a sewage plant, and we used that treated sewage as a source for our industrial water. We pipe it for 13 kilometers, get it to the mine, and that's the water we use in our industrial process. And the use of cyanide, we could have used a metallurgical process, giving us 95%, 96% gold and silver recovery by using cyanide, which was a concern to a population that is not acquainted with mining. So we decided to modify the metallurgical process and use a different one, giving up 4 or 5 recovery points instead of 95, 90% recovery of gold and silver. Those 3 examples speak to how through meaningful engagement and listening to stakeholders, you provide sustainability to the business, right?
The second step will be to reduce our consumption of water. As today, in 2022, we recycled 63% of the water used in our process plant. When we cannot reduce the footprint, we can compensate, for example, with trees. So we can do plantation outside the mine to compensate the trees cut during the construction phase.
Mining is energy intensive. What are you doing to reduce your emissions, and is net zero possible for Fortuna?
I believe the mine of the future will be one with a much reduced footprint. But everything starts with transparent measuring ourselves, reporting transparently, and setting credible targets, right? And that's what we have been doing at Fortuna. The intensity of energy we use, we reduced by 50% our intensity of use over the last 4 or 5 years, right? Over the next 24 months, we are implementing 2 solar projects at our Lindero mine in the province of Salta in Argentina, and our Séguéla mine in Côte d'Ivoire. These are mines that have the longest life of reserves, and we're migrating to solar power. Now, achieving net zero will demand that the industry, and not just mining, but all industries, are keen to take advantage of new technologies as they emerge to help us get to that ambition, right?
We did energy audit in all our mine sites in 2022, and we are presently developing our transition plan to reduce our emission by 2030.
Investors are looking more and more to move into stock in companies that operate sustainably. They're also, of course, wanting to get the best possible return. Is responsible mining good for business?
Yes, it is. And for mining, it's not just sustainability is not just a cliche. I can give you some examples. We recycle more water. We draw less water from the environment. So less intensity of use. And the same for energy. I shared with you that we have reduced our energy intensity by 50%. No? That's helping the company capture cost benefits, right? So it's not only good for the environment, it's also good for our bottom line. There are times where we are making short-term investments, thinking of the long-term sustainability of the business. We need to provide the longevity, the staying power, to provide the returns for the investors.
A gold mine with an annual production of 100,000 ounces will have a revenue of $1 million every 2 days, more or less. What if a mine needs to stop for 2 weeks to clean a spill? What if there is a blockage by the communities around for a month? So we can see the economic impact of not implementing the right standard and practices. when they permit a mine, or local communities with a social license to operate have higher and higher expectation on what standard need to be implemented and what added value the mine can bring to the community. The expectations are higher. But it's the same as investors level. The expectation in ESG topics and standards are increasing. Presently, Fortuna, if we look at our ratings from the main rating agencies, we perform in the top tier of the industry, but the expectations are increasing every day. So every day we need to improve and to continue implement the best practices.
Jorge Ganosa, founder, president and CEO of Fortuna Silver Mines, and Julio Baudrin, Fortuna's senior vice president of sustainability.